Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please give us a call if you guys are looking to improve your credit score, lower your car payment, buy a car, trade in a car. If you're looking to purchase your first home, if you're looking to purchase a rental property, we can help you. Give us a call today, 877-205-7771. Talk to you guys soon, and thanks again. Hello everyone, this is Calvin Russell, CEO and founder of 850 Club Credit Consultation. Hope everyone's doing well today. This is a video I have been putting off for quite some time, mainly because, I want to make sure people get the information the right way. And again, you can decide which route you want to go. That's the thing. I think that a lot of times people that watch videos on YouTube, and I know you guys want us to be as knowledgeable as possible about certain things, but that doesn't mean that one person's right or one person's wrong. That just means that, of course, you have to decide what's best for you, but also understand the legal ramifications as well too. Okay, so let's just go straight into it. I hope you guys are ready. First off, if this is your first time watching any of my videos, I do want to just put just who I am out there very quickly. Of course, I'm a FICO certified professional. Fair Isaac Incorporation, also known as FICO, the FICO score. They had a course not too long ago where you can actually learn how their algorithm works, learn everything about their scoring process, just pretty much everything about the FICO score. They no longer offer that course now, unfortunately. So that's where you guys see that yellow badge on all of my videos, because I earned that back in 2014. The reason why I say that is because a lot of times people give advice, but the problem is that they've only dealt with their personal situation, or maybe their friends and family situation, and now all of a sudden they're deemed an expert. Okay, and again, I'm not knocking. I mean, there's a lot of good information that's out there. The problem is with credit is that you can't do something on Monday with credit and then see a result from it on Tuesday, and then change. And if you don't like the result, you change it up on Wednesday. It doesn't work like that. So really, with credit, it's just like money. Time is money. Time is going to be credit as well too. And I say that to say, if you do something in January, you're more than likely not going to see the result from it until mid-February, sometimes even beginning of March, depending on when things are reported, when things are refreshed, things of that sort. Okay, so that's number one. Number two. My wife and I, we're homeowners. We've been homeowners since 25. I'm 29 right now. We bought our first house when we was 25. Then, of course, that was a 2-unit building. And then, of course, we rented out the entire building and then moved into our own home. So we have 2 mortgages right now. Again, not bragging or boasting, but a lot of people that's watching this video, they're going to be saying to themselves, okay, why am I listening to this guy? Well, this is going to tie into real estate, because a lot of you all at some point are going to be looking for home ownership. If you're not, that's fine. Again, but I just want to let you guys know that. Now I'm going to go into the third reason. I'm also a real estate agent as well too, licensed here with Keller Williams in Chicago. Okay, then number 4, I'm also with my wife, we're real estate investors as well too, so we flip properties, things of that sort. And but either way, I want to throw all of that out there because again, a lot of times we don't know who we're talking to, and it doesn't mean that I'm better or smarter than anybody, but again, I'm just kind of giving you guys a knowledge based on what I see as a real estate agent, based on what I see, just based on, just my history and things of that sort. Okay, so let's just jump straight into it. What happens when you don't pay collections? Okay, we know the legal ramifications of it. We gotta understand that. Okay, you are legally liable for a certain amount of debts, depending on how everything's been strategized. For example, if you owe, I'll even name drop companies, because I'm just letting you know how this stuff works. For the most part, a lot of people have had Capital One cards or a Capital One account. Majority of Capital One collections go to portfolio recovery. Okay, if you guys haven't noticed that. And again, I know this because we look at about 40 to 50 credit reports a day. Okay, so either way, so now we see that. So that's what we know. The problem is that once it's made that transition, that does not mean that you do not owe the money. That just means that you just don't owe the original creditor. Now, if you called Capital One or whomever the original creditor may be, will they take the money? Sometimes they will, because you had the original contract with them. You signed your name. I want you guys to think like this, like a bank. The bank let you borrow money. You took the money and you did not pay it back. Now you spend all day online trying to find ways not to pay them when they did nothing wrong. They gave you the money. Okay, that's the same when you swipe, when you have a checking account, and of course you leave it negative, you close the account out, or they close it out, right? Or if you have a repossession, which I did a video on, and of course you don't pay them, they let you borrow the money. By paying the dealership's done. Now you owe the lender, okay? For whatever reason, repossessions happen, no big deal. I'm not saying that you guys are good people, bad people, or whatever by not obligating your debts, but you have to understand, you have to see it how a bank sees it, okay? And again, then we say to ourselves, we're not going to pay them. Listen, it's fine if you do not pay your collections. Here is the problem. Is that you got to understand that there's also going to be some repercussions because of that. When you go into home ownership, which I notice a lot of people that tell you don't pay your collections, a lot of them are not homeowners, okay? The reason being is because now some people, and I'm not saying that you have to pay all collections, but watch where I'm going. Some collections, the lender that's giving you the home loan, they will tell you to pay that collection. Some lenders will make you pay it off. And some lenders will make you get on a payment plan, okay, just to close the loan. Now, after you close the loan, some lenders don't care what you do, okay? But again, I've noticed that a lot of people that tell you that don't pay your collections, they're not homeowners, okay? They're not homeowners. And I'm not throwing any shade, but a lot of times people, they'll get the advice, and they'll say to themselves, hey, you know what? It's just like when someone says, hey, you know what? Don't go to the dentist, right? Over time, and if you say, man, I like that guy. I don't want to go to the dentist. He says I don't have to go to the dentist. No problem, okay? And then over time, your teeth start rotting and things of that sort because you didn't go to the dentist. And say, yeah, you could not go, but the problem is you're going to have those repercussions, the cons, if you don't go. So these are the cons, okay? Number one is if you plan on being a homeowner someday soon, just at least try to make sure that the balance is. See, I think the problem is that people don't want to pay certain companies. I get it. Trust me, I get it, okay? And can you purchase a home with having open collection balances? You most definitely can, but every lender is going to be different. And what I've seen with most lenders, again, being in real estate, most collections above $1,000, sometimes above $800, they're going to want you to either pay off or have on some type of payment plan. They don't care about how the collection itself affects your credit score. All they want to do is they want to make sure, because they know that number two, some of these companies can take you to where? They can take you to court. So you get to court, right? You tell the judge, I saw some guy on YouTube, he said I didn't have to pay my collections. Okay, but does that mean you're not legally obligated? Here's the thing, as Judge Judy would say, you ate the steak, okay? Again, the company, you wanted the car, the lender paid the dealership, so now you got what you wanted. Now, of course, for whatever reason, the car gets repossessed. You say, man, I'm not going to pay them. Okay, no problem. But don't be surprised if they take you to court. Now, does every creditor take people to court? Not every creditor. Do I have clients? Listen, we've serviced over 550 clients, okay? Within the last 6 years, we've been doing business. We've been doing this full time now since July of last year. I say that to say, of course, thanks to you guys at YouTube, we're now adding about 40 to 50 clients a month. It's absolutely crazy. So we appreciate that. The problem is that it's the expectations, okay? That does not mean that you have to pay everybody, but I'm just saying don't be surprised if a company wants to take you to court, if your lender wants you to pay them off, if a lender wants you to get on a payment plan, okay? Just don't be surprised. These things can happen. We have clients literally that have been summoned to court because of a collection. That's another thing. Just because a collection, we find a way to get the collection off of your credit report. Of course, do a dispute letter, okay? Just because it's off of your report, that does not mean you don't owe the money. That does not mean that you're not legally obligated to this. People try to research on ways to try to figure out ways to say, hey, I'm not legally liable, for this company. I owe the money to Capital One. Capital One sold it to Portfolio Recovery. Why in the world do I have to, pay Portfolio Recovery? That's gotta be illegal. I've read this stuff on the internet. Everything on the internet's true. Are you serious? Do you want to wing that? Let's talk about two things. The most important thing before I forget it. Let's say you have a credit card with Capital One. Capital One, they sell that debt, they charge it off, they sell that debt to Portfolio Recovery, like majority of their accounts go to. Now, they also take the contract that you sign, they take that contract, they sell that to the collection agency in most cases. So now your debt is now owned, in new ownership, owned by Portfolio Recovery. Can they sell that? Absolutely. Because you owe the money. They gave you the money. Now, let's just say for whatever reason, because Capital One, they're actually pretty nice. They don't too much go after a lot of people, okay? Or Portfolio Recovery. It's rare that they actually take people to court for Capital One things. Now, Portfolio Recovery, on the other hand, Capital One's not their only client. But have I seen them take people to court? Absolutely. I've seen a lot of creditors take people to court. But again, everyone's situation is different. But here's what people forget. If you owe Capital One that money, okay, they sold it. Now, guess what? Whether it's on your credit or not, whether you don't pay them or not, you are still in their database. Sometimes I think we get so focused on what's on our credit report, we are still in their database. They still got our social. They still have our payment history, the fact that we didn't pay them. And guess who's going to be one of the few people that's going to be able to even extend credit out to you? Because I'm assuming your score is hit a certain point. Because again, we have a low, like, people that are above 700 don't spend all day trying to figure out ways not to pay people, because of collections, I should say, because not many people are at a 700 or above with a certain amount of collections. It's usually people that have a certain type of score, okay? So if you have that certain type of score, don't take it the wrong way. I'm just saying, we spend entirely too much time online trying to find ways not to pay a company when most of the companies don't care that much. They don't care that much, okay? Banks care about what you've done after the collection, after the repossession, after the bankruptcy. It's rare that that banks will deny you for a certain amount of collections, but usually it's the amount of money. Think about it. You said okay. So for example, someone tells you not to pay a collection, right? You don't pay it. Now you're trying to borrow money. You have this other collection down here. You promised to pay them. You promised. You didn't pay them. Now you come to us. You want to borrow money, right? And you want us to give you this money even though you didn't pay these people? Where are you getting your advice from? There's only one place to get the money. Maybe a couple other places, right? You can get money from investors, right? You get money from, if someone dies and leave you something, an inheritance. But for the most part, all of us go to the banks. So a lot of times you can't shaft one bank and then think you can go to another bank, and especially when there's a report card, the adult report card, also known as the credit report. Again, if you say, I know I'm gonna get a lot of crazy comments down at the bottom. I know you guys love the crazy comments. But either way, again, if you're an advocate for, man, forget these companies, I'm not paying these collections, this, that says a lot about what type of, because again, they don't do an interview process anymore with mortgages. They don't do an interview process anymore with credit card applications. You know what they do? They run your credit and look at your credit report. What about those items that you said you were not going to pay that you couldn't get off with the magical dispute letter, right? And now they see that. They say, well, if he didn't give a damn about them, why would he give a damn about us? Now, what does that mean? That means that you got to turn a negative into a positive. What can you do to rebuild your credit after the collection? Again, some cases you don't have to pay it, but what have you done to reestablish yourself? A lot of times we spend so much time trying not to pay people instead of trying to learn how to reestablish new relationships with banks that understand our situation. And again, then we rebuild, and then we can reestablish that new relationship. I have clients that have had accounts with, let's say, Capital One. Things didn't go the way that they wanted to. It was a charge off and went into collections. They say, I'm not going to pay that, Calvin. No problem. But I know what Capital One is looking for when you don't pay them money. And then, of course, what type of other relationships they're looking for you to build outside of them. Because again, when you want an auto loan, another credit card, guess who's one of the biggest players in the game? Capital One. Guess whose information is still in their database because you didn't pay them? Capital One. And your information is going to be in their database, okay? Again, your credit report is not the only platform. Your information is everywhere, okay? Your information is everywhere. It's on LexisNexis. It's in these creditors platforms when companies get bought out. All this type of stuff. Your information is out there, okay? Again, I'm not saying that you have to pay every single collection, but do understand that some lenders will want you to either pay them off, get on a payment plan, you're still in their database, okay? And again, they're going to look for you to reestablish your credit. It's not the end of the world, guys, but just set your expectations right. Just Again, they may take you to court. Okay, there may be wage garnishment. I have clients in wage garnishment. You cannot work for the United States government or have a post office job, right? Let's break it down to a simple form. I have a client, she works for the post office, right? She's behind on her student loans. That does not matter if it's on her credit report or not, right? Why? Because so many people say, listen, can you get this off? Can you get this off? Okay, you still owe them. They are literally taking the wages out of her check. Why? Because you guys keep listening to people, keep telling them, don't pay them. Have you lost your mind? They are in the right. And we're going to listen, the bank is where they are. I know some of you guys hate the system, but set your expectations right. Some things I don't like that the bank does, but guess what? They got all the money. And unless you want to keep saving cash, you can do that. But if you're looking to establish credit, you got to establish relationships the right way, okay? Hopefully that was worth you guys' time. Again, if you like this video, like it, you want to share it. And of course, you want to subscribe for more. But again, I know a lot of people are going to be pissed off, like, oh my God, no, I don't want to listen to this guy. No problem. But again, if your MO is to not pay somebody after you were in the wrong. You borrowed the money. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some situations where we'll borrow money, things may go left, whatever the case may be. But let's be honest, 98% of people, if things don't go the way that they want, if they have a credit card, they swipe it up, the company charges it off, and then we say, well, I'm not paying them. Okay, no problem. It's no big deal. But set your expectations right. Make sure you're mentally prepared if they decide to, take you to court, or if your lender wants to, want to have you on a payment plan. And again, I'm gonna be honest, if it's like $200, $300, they're probably not gonna do anything. If it's like around $700, possibly. When you start getting around like evictions and repossessions that turn into collections, or any collections that's over $1,000, okay, play that game if you want to. You'll eventually find out. And then you're gonna be like, man, how come nobody else wants to give me another account? How come I can't reestablish my credit? Because you're not trying to build it with the right people. Don't even get me started on trade lines. Banks can see that they are trade lines. They can see that it's not your account. Listen, they know that you were a 480 before you bought some $5,000 limit credit card that you don't even have access to. That means if an emergency was to arrive, you don't even have access to that money. The bank is not stupid. I'm not knocking trade lines, but again, you have to look at it like they do. They like, listen, this guy isn't this guy. Oh, I'm sorry. Or this girl isn't this girl, or whatever. This person is not this person. They're only this person on paper because they paid their way to get there. Again, this ain't corporate America, okay? This is basic knowledge credit, okay? Just so you know, if you look in your credit report and you have a trade line, it doesn't show individual because it shows ownership. It's or another word for ownership on the credit term is called responsibility. And responsibility, it'll say individual or it'll say authorized user. When they see authorized user, they say, oh, well, they don't have access to these funds. And so that plays a role, especially when you're looking for a home, when you're looking to start a business, or just anything. Now, in the auto industry, they really don't care, but they never cared anyway because they got high interest rate loans. Again, you could be, I don't want to make this video go entirely too long. You guys get the point by now. If you like it, you want to share it, share it. Subscribe for more as always. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you at the next video.